Welcome to Inspired Cooking with Lana. I am a life coach who loves to cook, so thought I would combine the two and bring you good food and food for thought. So let's get started. So I am just going to make myself a quick lunch today and thought I would share it with you. It's 3 ingredients as far as the lunch goes, so super simple. But first we have to make the sauce. So the sauce is just a few more ingredients. So I am going to start with almond butter. You can use peanut butter for this, but I just have almond butter on hand. So I am going to do 2 heaping tablespoons of almond butter. I love any sauce that has that peanut butter flavor. So I think this will be pretty tasty. So 2 large tablespoons of almond butter. It's not coming off my finger there. And now I will do 1 tablespoon of rice wine vinegar, 2 tablespoons of Bragg's amino acids, which this is in replace of soy, but you can use soy sauce if you prefer. So I'm going to start with 2 tablespoons of this, and I'll taste it to make sure I have the portions correct. And I'm going to do 1 tablespoon of toasted sesame oil, and then I like it hot, so I'm going to do 1 tablespoon of garlic chili paste. And that will make it spicy. All right, let's mix this up and see how it tastes. Let's move this to the side. I have my little immersion blender here. All right, let's give this a taste. I think I'm going to add just a tablespoon of water. I think it's plenty salty, so I don't really want to add any more of the Bragg's. So I'm just going to add a tablespoon of water to just thin it out just a little bit. Okay, so now we're done with the sauce. Now I'm just going to show you my quick lunch that I'm going to make today. So now that my sauce is made, I'm just going to put together my ingredients in a quick stir fry. So I am using tofu, extra firm tofu, and for those of you that are carnivores, if you have not tried tofu, I think it's a great source of protein. So what I'm doing now is I'm just draining off the excess liquid. But tofu is a great source of protein. It takes on the flavor of basically that delicious sauce that I just made. It's going to just take on that flavor. So I really like tofu, but you do want to get the moisture out. So I'm going to actually get some paper towels. And I'm just going to press and just get as much moisture out of the tofu. And then I really like my tofu fried. So I am going to fry it really quick. Let's get the moisture out. So all we're going to do now is I'm going to cube it. So I'm going to have about 1-inch cubes. Go down the middle here. And then 1 inch this way. And so I'm going to add some sesame oil to my pan. And once we add the sauce, again, this will just take the flavor of the sauce. So I'm going to let the oil heat up for just a minute. So while my oil is heating, I am going to crush some peanuts. So our meal is basically tofu. I have a bag here of frozen green beans and crushed peanuts. And we're just going to pour that delicious sauce on top and call it lunch. So while I'm going to crush some peanuts while I'm waiting for the oil to heat up. So I'm just putting it in a bag, and then I'm just going to, if you have a meat tenderizer, that would work as well. I'm just using a rolling pin. And then you want to flip it a couple times. Okay, so my peanuts are crushed. Now let's start with the tofu. Make sure it's hot. Yep, can you hear that? It's my oil is hot, so I'm just going to put all this tofu in the pan. So I'm just going to let that sit because I want them to get a little brown on the ends before I add my other ingredients. So we're just going to let that sit. So something else that I wanted to share with you is I am currently reading a book called Positive Intelligence, and I'm actually in a pod with some other people, and we're doing this as a 6-week course on, and it's basically on observing your, he calls them saboteurs, and saboteurs are is your judgment, you know, your judgment thinking. You know, there's 9 different saboteurs, but we all have judgment. So it's when we're judging ourselves, it's when we're judging others, or we're judging a particular circumstance. And and the whole premise is to catch yourself when you're in judgment. And then he teaches you how to do these 2-minute reps where you clear your mind. And he calls that, when you clear your mind, you're coming into the sage brain. And he says that it's actually scientifically proven that you can increase the gray matter in your brain on the positive, whenever you are focusing on your positive neurons, your sage brain, versus the gray matter in your, if you have a lot of negative thoughts, you're going to actually increase the gray matter on that side of the brain. So I guess the negative thoughts and the positive thoughts are 2 different areas in the brain. So I love the science behind it, and I'm really enjoying the course. I'm doing it with a good friend of mine, and but there's several of us in the pod. So if you get a chance, and this seems interesting, I would highly recommend checking out the book called Positive Intelligence. All right, so now I'm going to just check on my they are not brown yet. We'll take a minute, and I'll show you what it looks like when they're just a little brown, and then I'm just going to flip them and rotate them around. So my tofu has gotten crispy on the edges. I'll just pull one out here and show it to you so you can see what I'm talking about. So see how it's just nice and brown on the outside. So again, I do like my tofu a little crispy. And now we are going to just add some green beans. And this is stuff that, you know, you can just keep on hand. So when you're wanting a quick lunch, so, you know, I always have frozen green beans. And the thing that I like about tofu is it lasts a really long time. So if you were to thaw out chicken in your refrigerator, and you know you got busy and didn't get a chance to cook it right away, you know, you have about 3 to 5 is pushing it, days where you want to cook your chicken. You know, the nice thing about tofu is the shelf life. You know, it can stay in your refrigerator for a couple of months. So it's just something nice to have on hand for quick meals like today. So again, I'm just going to saute these green beans in with my tofu, and I'm going to add my sauce. So it's interesting, so this week, you know, our exercise was to try and catch our judge in action, and I have to say my judge is pretty sneaky, and she likes to hide. So it was a fun exercise in just recognizing when I was in judge mode, either myself or others or circumstances. And circumstances seems to be the most tricky, I find, of my judge scenarios. So, but I'm really enjoying the exercise of catching your judge and then doing what he calls PQ reps. And PQ reps are, it's basically just clearing your mind for just a couple of minutes. It's, you know, it's not something where you have to, you know, go sit quietly in a private room. You know, he really wants you to do it while you're doing life. So he has you doing, you know, PQ reps for just a couple of minutes. All right, so this is all combined. I'm going to let this continue cooking for a little bit, and then I'm going to add the crushed peanuts. So I think that my green beans are heated thoroughly, and the sauce is blended nicely. So to this, I'm just going to add my crushed peanuts. I think I'm going to be pretty generous with my peanuts because I really like the peanutty flavor. And there you have it, a very simple 3-ingredient lunch that's tasty and healthy. And I am ready to eat. So if you like this episode, please be sure to subscribe to my YouTube channel and check out my website at inspiredcookingwithlana.com. Thanks for watching.